Here's a hearty wild mushroom soup with vegetables, flavored with Madeira. These delicate salmon fillets are sautéed in a light cream sauce with tomatoes and anchovies. This pheasant is stuffed with a mousseline of chicken and served on a bed of champagne cabbage. For dessert, a classic Austrian soufflé. It's dinner from New York's elegant Vienna 79. You can enjoy this dinner and learn to prepare it step by step from Andy Kistler, one of New York's master chefs. Presenting New York's master chefs. Adventures in food, featuring some of New York's most exciting restaurants and menus prepared by the master chefs who created them. Located on 60th Street, just off Madison Avenue, is Vienna 79. Peter Granauer's handsome Midtown Manhattan restaurant. It's a beautifully designed restaurant, sophisticated yet comfortable. The beautiful floral arrangements and antique prints suggest the elegance of Vienna. Presiding over the kitchen is 25-year-old Andy Kistler, who came to New York from his native Vienna in 1982. While Chef Kistler enjoys cooking the traditional fare of his country, what excites him most is the lighter, streamlined cuisine that has emerged in the past few years, both in Austria and the United States.
When I was 15, I learned cooking in Vienna, in the restaurant. It's called Palais Schwarzenberg. And then I went to Hotel Sacher, and then America. I didn't know that I want to be a chef. I mean, definitely not. Then with 15 years, you're not thinking about being chef or being anything. My parents, they found a job for me and said, you know, why not trying to be a chef? So I said, okay, let's make them happy and let's go. And then I started to think about that cooking is something what I enjoy. So I changed my thinking and started to really work on it, and then I could say then I loved it.
To begin, a thick and hearty soup of wild mushrooms and fresh vegetables, flavored with a hint of Madeira.
So the first step we soak the dried sap in water, to cover them really good up, then add a little bit of Madeira wine to give them a good flavor, and let them sit there for at least 20 minutes to really get soggy. Take them out, squeeze them very good, and chop them up and save the liquid for the later preparation. We cut the onion here. Cut it first the long way. Cut it in the middle. And then you get these little cubes. You saute the onions in heated oil. shake them a little bit to they won't burn. Then add the mushrooms. Add 2 garlic cloves, whole ones, so we can find them and take them out easily. Add marjoram. And stir and saute on a low heat. Add a little bit of the liquid from the steps. Then I continue to saute and reduce it. Now we're making a roux. A roux is butter and flour. For binding the soup, you put the butter in the pot, then you let melt it. Add flour and stir very, very well. Stay and watch for 10 minutes and be sure that it not get brown and not get burned. The roux is bubbling, and that's what gets the flavor of the flour out. Then we add beef broth and stir very well so we don't get any lumps from the roux. Now I'm cutting the garnish for the soup. It's carrot cubes. I'm adding the carrots to the soup and keep the soup boiling to get the carrots done and get the flavor of the carrots into the soup. And the next step is potatoes. They should be cut in the same size than the carrots. Again, 1/2 inch cubes. These potatoes have to be boiled separately. That means if we would cook them in the soup, it would get out too much starch. Check out the carrots, if they are really tender, the same tenderness than the potatoes. So then we add the potatoes and let it simmer there. And then we add the mushrooms and the onions. Boil it again. This is a real old Austrian recipe. They used to make it there like in winter times when it's really cold up there in the Alps after skiing. So you had something warm to eat, something what filled up your stomach. Now we add a little bit of sherry vinegar for the flavor and the taste. And then add lemon juice. Salt, pepper to taste, and then we set aside and keep it for 5 minutes there. Get the flavor inside of the soup, get everything in, and then heat it up again and serve it. To make the soup look nice, we put a little bit of parsley, chopped parsley on top of it. If you want to, you can make a lot of this soup. Can keep it, even can freeze it. It keeps for and tastes even better on the 5th day.
For the next course, Chef Kessler presents delicate salmon fillets, quickly sautéed in a light cream sauce with anchovies and tomatoes.
The first step for this recipe will be the preparation of the tomatoes. And the tomatoes will be used for the sauce. Take out the core. Cut a little cross on the other side of the tomato, pour it in hot water, leave it there for a second, chuck it in ice water, and peel tomato. Then we cut the tomatoes in slices. We will take out the seeds and cut them in 1/2 inch thick cubes. I do recommend for this course Norwegian salmon. When you cook them, it's more tender, it has more flavor. But it can be any kind of salmon you wish. This is a course you can have either as an appetizer or as a main course. I'm using it as an appetizer, so I'm cutting 2 pieces per portion, each piece an inch thick. Put on salt, put on pepper, fresh pepper. Then I dip one side of each fillet in the flour to prevent the salmon from sticking to the pan, so I can turn him easy, and to have a nice brown color on the outside. I'm frying this salmon in clarified butter. Leave him on medium heat. Turn around the fillet. You have to be careful not to overcook the fillets. That means they should be inside pink. Take them out, put them on this plate. Cover them with another plate to keep the salmon warm. Pour out the clarified butter. Add the white wine. Take it off from the fire. And add the anchovies. Be sure you have it cut in little pieces. Then we add heavy cream and let the heavy cream reduce to almost a third. Then we add the tomatoes. Now we add the butter, helping it to bind it. Putting in some parsley for good look and a little of the taste. On the ends of the salmon fillets, pour 3 tablespoons of sauce on it. It's a good combination.
The main course is boneless breast and leg of pheasant, stuffed with a mousseline of chicken and served with cabbage in champagne and caraway seeds.
We make the champagne cabbage first. The cabbage is served with the pheasant. And I'm slicing the cabbage in julienne. I also slice the apples in julienne and the onions in julienne. Now I heat a cooking pot, pour in some butter, put the onions in and be sure not to have it on a high heat. And we want to prevent the onions to get brown. We put sugar in for the taste and it's so-called caramelized. Now we add the cabbage. Be sure not to let it get brown. Add the champagne. And then we add caraway seeds. Now we add the heavy cream. Then we put in the apple slices. Add salt and pepper. You can put in a little butter. Stir it in and then keep it aside and keep warm. The next step of this recipe will be the stuffing for the leg of pheasants. What I'm taking here is a breast of chicken, putting it in the food processor, making a mousse out of it. Adding some cream to it and let it run on high speed so it gets blended. To add some flavor, chopping fresh sage. Then I'm adding the fresh sage to the food processor. Once again, high speed. Then I'm taking out the chicken mousse. We add the egg yolks. They're gonna help us to bind the mousse. Whisk it very good so the egg yolks are really under the meat. Now we put in the finely diced leeks, finely diced carrots, and finely diced celery roots. Put in some chopped parsley, whisk it very well. Pour in some port wine. Fold the port wine under this mousse, and then we start with the preparation of the pheasant. Okay, for the best thing is to do for the pheasant is to go to the butcher and ask the butcher to debone the pheasant for you. So there's the two breasts, and debone also the leg of the pheasant. It means to take the legs, the bones out without cutting the meat off. Put it underneath a plastic foil, so during the process of pounding you will not destroy the meat and it will not stick to the kitchen utensil you use. After you pounded it thin, spread the mousse and leave on each side a little piece so you can fold it and roll it. And game dish are traditional dishes in Austria, but this kind of recipe is not traditional recipe, so I've taken it and add some to it, changed a little bit and made a new recipe. Now we're gonna tie the meat so it will help us to prevent the stuffing coming out. We heat some oil and now we put the meat in the pan. Be sure you put it on the side where the meat folds together, so it will help you that the meat is sticking together like you see here. Now we put it in the preheated oven. We take out the legs out of the oven. Then we put in the breasts of pheasant. Put it in with the meat side first. Saute it. Let it get brown, nice golden brown. Turn around and put back in the oven. After the meat is done, we take the meat out and put it under a covered plate to keep it warm. Now we're gonna make the sauce. You pour the fat out of the pan. Then you add the shallots. We add some oil. Then we don't wanna stick the shallots to the pan, and we saute them until the golden brown. We pour in the red wine. Add some gin. Keep it boiling and reducing. At least almost the liquid is gone. Now we add the pheasant stock. And under high heat, we are really reducing it down to almost half. Now we swirl in the butter, and this helps us to bind the sauce. Now we're gonna strain it, take out the shallots, and have a smooth, clear sauce. Season it with salt and pepper, and now we're ready to serve. In the center of the plate we put on the cabbage. Take off the string from the stuffed leg, then slice it into 4 slices and place it around the cabbage. Now we take the breast of pheasant and slice it. Then we fan it out and place it around the other side of the cabbage. We put on the sauce around the edges and not on top of the meat. Then you want to see the stuffing and you want to see the right way of cooking of the meat.
For dessert, Chef Kissler prepares a classic lemon and vanilla flavored dessert soufflé from his native Austria.
To finish this meal, I have chosen Salzburger Nockeln. It's an Austrian soufflé, but it is really easy to make. First, we need the egg whites. In an electric mixer, beat the egg whites at medium-high speed until they form soft peaks. Then we add vanilla sugar. To make vanilla sugar, you put in a plastic container granulated sugar with the vanilla bean, cover it and keep it for 5 days. We need the juice from a half a lemon. Take out the seed. Press it in. After you add the lemon juice, start the machine once again and whip it until it is stiff and shiny. Adding the egg yolk, adding flour, and folding it carefully under this mixture. Here you have to be really careful not to whip it too hard. And then we start the preparation for the baking. First we place in the baking dish butter, and jelly. You can use any kind of jelly you wish. Next you add a little bit of heavy cream. Not too much though. Now we form little mountains, and that's why the dessert is called Salzburger, then Salzburg is a mountain city. We put it in a preheated oven and leave it there for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now we take it out of the oven. We want to have the tops of the mountains brown so it looks nice. And we put on powdered sugar and serve it immediately.
Dinner at Vienna 79, prepared by Andy Kissler, one of New York's master chefs.